Everyone tells you the same thing. Buy the name you've trusted for 20 years. Bigger brand, better tool. That's not true anymore. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly which trusted names have quietly changed, and why the tool in your cart might not be what you think it is. Walk into any hardware store, and you'll see the same ranking play out in people's heads before they even reach the aisle. DeWalt, Milwaukee, and Bosch go in the cart without a second thought. Ryobi and Harbor Freight get a polite nod and a walk past. That instinct isn't random. It's been built by decades of advertising, job site reputation, and plain old habit. But what if that instinct is now working against you? What if the brand loyalty that used to protect buyers from wasting money is the exact thing costing people money today? Somewhere between mergers, licensing deals, and quiet corporate reshuffling, the badge on a tool stopped reliably telling you. This video walks through that shift brand by brand, using the actual ownership history behind each name. And by the end, the goal isn't just to rank the brands. It's to hand over a better way to size one up in 5 seconds, no matter what logo is stamped on it. Start with the brand almost everyone in North America grew up trusting: Craftsman. For most of the 20th century, walking into a Sears store and seeing that red Craftsman logo on a wrench set meant one thing: it was going to outlast you. That reputation wasn't marketing spin. It was earned, tool by tool, on job sites and in garages for generations. And to be fair, it makes complete sense that people still default to that trust. Brand memory runs deep. If a hammer got your grandfather through 30 years of home repairs, there's no obvious reason to doubt the same name today. That's not naivety. That's just how brand trust is supposed to work. A name becomes a shortcut so buyers don't have to research every purchase from scratch. But shortcuts stop working the moment the thing behind the name changes. And Craftsman is the clearest example of that on this entire list. When Sears collapsed, Craftsman didn't disappear, it moved to Lowe's, and Stanley Black & Decker took over production. Here's the part that surprises people. The hand tools mostly kept their reputation intact. The power tools didn't. Today, Craftsman power tools sit closer to DIY grade than anything a contractor would trust on site, even though the name on the box hasn't changed at all. Think of it like a restaurant that gets bought out but keeps the same sign above the door. The building looks familiar. The food is not the same. That's Craftsman power tools. In 2026, familiar packaging, a completely different level of quality standing behind it. That single split one badge, two very different realities depending on which product line you're holding, is the crack in the trust the name theory. And it's not an isolated case. Lowe's own shelves already carried a warning sign of this exact pattern before Craftsman ever showed up. Back in 1998, Lowe's backed a brand called Cobalt, specifically to go head-to-head with Craftsman and Husky, and Cobalt built a genuinely respectable following doing it. Then Stanley Black & Decker bought Craftsman and moved it onto Lowe's shelves too, and Cobalt got quietly pushed toward the back even after earning its spot the hard way. Same retailer, two competing in-house lines, and it was the newer acquisition, not the more consistent product, that got the better real estate. If a store will reshuffle its own tool aisle over a corporate purchase, that alone is worth a second look. And this isn't only a declining legacy brand story, sometimes a single company splits itself on purpose. Bosch has run two color-coded lines side by side since 1932. Green tools built for DIY users, blue tools built for professionals. Same company, same name, same headquarters, deliberately different quality tiers sold under one identity. That's proof a single badge can house two entirely different standards at the same time. On purpose, sitting on the same shelf. Which means a shopper can't even assume consistency within one brand, let alone across an entire industry of them. Here's where it gets messier. Ridgid tools sit in plumbing vans and pipe-fitting trucks across the country. And for good reason, their pipe threading machines are considered genuinely professional-grade equipment. So naturally, people assume Ridgid's cordless drills and impact drivers carry that same reputation straight across the lineup. They don't. And the reason is buried in a detail almost nobody checks. Ridgid isn't owned by the company that manufactures most of its power tools. Emerson Electric owns the Ridgid name. TTI, the same conglomerate behind Milwaukee and Ryobi, builds the cordless tools under a licensing agreement. Same badge. Two completely separate businesses standing behind it. So what does that mean in practice? It means a plumber's trust in Ridgid's threading machines tells buyers nothing reliable about whether a Ridgid cordless drill will hold up the same way. One division earned its reputation the hard way, the other is riding on it. And this licensing pattern isn't rare. It might be the industry's best-kept open secret. Ryobi, the green DIY shelf staple at Home Depot, and Hart, the tool line sold at Walmart, are both manufactured by TTI. Different color, different name, different store. Functionally, close to the same tool. If two products built by the same company, to similar specs, can be marketed as if they're worlds apart just by changing the paint job and the retailer. How much is the badge on any tool actually worth? That question is the one the rest of this video is built to answer. Now here's the piece that actually breaks the expensive legacy brand equals better tool belief completely. Harbor Freight spent years as the industry's punchline, the store people joked about. The place you bought a $12 tarp and a socket set you didn't fully trust. That reputation was fair for a long time. It is not fair anymore. Harbor Freight's Hercules line now ships with a 5-year warranty, a warranty length that used to be reserved for brands charging 2 or 3 times the price. The battery platform and torque specs on Hercules tools are now genuinely being compared against major players in the category, not laughed out of the conversation. That's not a marketing claim. That's a warranty commitment, and companies don't back a 5-year promise on tools they expect to fail. Meanwhile, flip that story upside down and look at Stanley Black & Decker, the oldest company on this entire list, tracing back to 1843, older than the light bulb, older than the Civil War's end, and today, that company doesn't even put its own name on its best power tools. DeWalt, a brand Stanley Black & Decker acquired, not built, carries that torch instead. The house that's been standing the longest isn't the one holding up the roof anymore. Put those two facts side by side, and the pattern becomes impossible to unsee. Age and price. Tier tell buyers almost nothing reliable about where a tool actually lands today. A 3-year-old company can let its own name slide into second place. A punchline brand can back a 5-year warranty. The badge just isn't doing the job people assume it's doing. So what does blind brand loyalty actually cost someone? Picture a homeowner who needs a drill for occasional shelving and picture hanging, but grabs a top-shelf Milwaukee kit because Milwaukee is the best, without ever checking that Milwaukee's entire lineup is built and priced for job site abuse, 5 days a week, for years. That's not a smart purchase. That's paying professional-grade money to solve a DIY-grade problem because the name felt safer than doing 5 minutes of research. Now flip it. Picture a contractor who dismisses the Hercules line out of old habit because Harbor Freight still means cheap in their head and pays a premium elsewhere for a warranty and spec sheet they could have gotten for less. Both people made the same mistake. They let the badge make the decision instead of the actual division, warranty, and build quality behind it. Zoom out further and the stakes get bigger than any single purchase. Multiply that mistake across an entire industry, and you get a market where brand perception and product reality are drifting apart faster than most buyers realize, and the only people who benefit from that gap are the companies, charging legacy prices for tools that have quietly slipped a tier. So here's the actual verdict, and it's simpler than any brand ranking chart. Stop asking which badge is the best. Start asking who currently owns this division, and what tier are they actually building it for. That single question would have caught every surprise in this video. It would have flagged that Craftsman's power tools aren't the same promise as Craftsman's hand tools. It would have flagged that Ridgid's cordless drills answer to a different parent than Ridgid's threading machines. It would have flagged that Ryobi and Hart are close cousins wearing different jackets. And it would have flagged that Harbor Freight's flagship line has been quietly closing the gap that used to separate bargain from genuinely good. This isn't the framework most tool review channels are handing out, and there's a simple reason for that. Buy the brand you already trust is an easy video to make. It doesn't require digging through corporate ownership records or licensing agreements. It just recycles the reputation everyone already has in their head. This video didn't do that, and now the choice sits with the viewer. Keep buying the badge, or start buying the tier that's actually behind it. Hold the weight of the final revelation. A logo is easy to trust. It's also the easiest thing in the world to inherit, license out, or quietly let slide while the reputation keeps doing the selling. The tools that actually deserve the trust are the ones still being built to the standard that earned it in the first place, and that standard doesn't always live where the name suggests anymore. So here's the real question worth sitting with. Does the brand still deserve the reputation people are handing it, or is it running on momentum built by a different company in a different decade? Still think the biggest name on the shelf is automatically the safest buy? Or has this changed how that aisle looks the next time you're standing in it? Comment below, because not everyone watching this is going to agree.